Hi, hello, how are you? Today we'll be doing another fall crochet tutorial and it's going to be football related. So I'm very excited for this. I decided to do this after I saw Premier Yarns post their little football guy. I thought he was so cute and I was like, that's perfect for our house. My boyfriend's a big football fan, even though our NFL team is terrible this year. We do also follow a lot of college football. So this is perfect for the season. If you or your partner or a friend or a sibling or a parent, whoever in your life loves football, this is a great gift. Or maybe you live with some roommates and they don't like the cute crochet. This is a good way to get some football for them, some crochet for you in your living room. Either way, I think this is going to turn out really cute, but also perfect for somebody who might not like the cutesy crochet stuff. Let's just get started. So I'm trying out some new yarn. This is the Lion brand yarns, which I've used this brand before. I'm currently working on a sweater with their brand, but this is Go Fleece Sherpa. I've never used this. It recommends a 15mm hook. I don't have a 15mm. I'm gonna try out the 9, we'll see what happens. This is the color clay, this is the color cream, these are the colors we'll need. You'll also need some acrylic yarn, you'll need a stitch marker. If you want to add like a face and obviously like eyes that are not acrylic yarn, you'll need those tools as well. This will be a low sew project, but also potentially could be no sew if you don't want to add the sewing details after. So if you're somebody who likes like no sew projects, this potentially could be one for you, because everything sewn on is just added detail, stuff you don't need to do. Like I think I'll add little legs to mine, I'm gonna put a face on mine, I'm gonna add like the strings, whatever they're called, onto mine. All of that is optional, but I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial and let's get started. This is me from the future. I am using a 10mm hook. I'm putting this clip in, but I had to come back and redo some because the 9mm was too small. So, okay, so this is definitely going to be hard to see because there's the stitch right there. This is very like long pile. It's definitely going to be hard to see what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. So this will probably be a tutorial that's going to be a lot more of like me telling you numbers and stuff like that than visually showing you, because I don't know if you'd be able to see very much anyways. To start, you either want to do a magic ring or like I do, where I do 4 single stitches, or a starting chain of 4, which you cannot see, and then you put your hook into the last stitch and pull through and make a circle. Once you pull your yarn through, you have your circle, and we're going to do 8 stitches into the center of the circle here. If you are using this yarn, which if you have never used fluffy yarn, 10 out of 10, do not recommend this one. If you want to use fluffy yarn for the first time, I would try hobby yarn or Premier yarn, or even the Dollar Tree has some that's pretty easy to work with for the first time. This with the longer length is definitely going to be difficult. So if you have experience and you're using this yarn, you'll definitely want some stitch markers. You need them anyways for doing this project, but just to keep track. If you're just using regular chenille yarn, you'll still need them, but yeah, just a heads up with this yarn. So we're going to do 8 stitches into the center. Once we have 8 stitches into the center, which you really cannot see, we are going to put 2 stitches into the first stitch, which we can see because of this, and then we're going to do 1 stitch, then 2 into the next, then 1 stitch, then 2 into the next. Typically I double up every stitch, but that's normally when I want it flat. In a football, we want to have kind of like this tip and get wider. So we're going to try it this way, and hopefully this works out, because when I film these videos, I am just kind of rolling with it. This is the first time I've done this project, so hopefully this works out. The right shape is forming so far, so we're gonna do 2 stitches, then 1 stitch, then 1 stitch, then 2 stitches into 1, then 1 stitch, then another stitch. And what I mean by 2 stitches into 1, here is my first stitch. So I'm going to put a single stitch into this stitch, then I'm going to go back into that same stitch, putting a second stitch. And then the next 2 stitches, I will just put 1 single stitch. We are going to keep up with our pattern, so we're going to put 2 stitches into the first stitch, then 3 single stitches, then 2 stitches into the next, then 3 all the way back to the start. We're going to keep going with the 2 stitches into the first stitch, then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way back to this time. Instead of 4, we'll be doing 5, so still doing the double stitches, then 5, double stitch, 5, all the way back to the start. Next, we're going to do 2 stitches, 6, 2, 6, all the way around, and this might be our last one before we add the cream, but we'll see, because I want this to be big, and so far it's not too big yet, so I don't want to add the cream too early and it not be the size I'm picturing. We are going to continue with our pattern, so 2 stitches into this one, 7, then 2, 7, then 2, all the way around. And I've decided I'm not going to add the white yet because just like proportionally I don't think it would be as big as I want it to be if I do that. Next we're going to do 2 stitches in the first, 8, 2 stitches in the next, 8, all the way back to the start. I'm at the end of this row and I basically, you know, what some people I guess would call like girl math or girl science here. I just line these up, put another stitch marker here for where the white will go, because on footballs the white only goes like around the top. Some don't even have that, but I just like the look of it, so we're gonna roll with it. You could also do a full stripe of white, which is what I was originally gonna do because that's how I thought footballs look. Clearly I watched so much, but we're gonna just do the top half. So to do this, this is the stitch before our first one. I currently have my stitch pulled through, and I'm going to, instead of pulling brown yarn through, I'm going to switch to white, pull through, go all the way around with the white to here, and then just switch back. You can see I have my white yarn on, and it is now my working yarn. And this is going to now be 2 stitches into 1, 9 stitches, 2 stitches in the next, 9 stitches, and I'll come back when I get to this part to show you how to switch back again. Alright, so I have both the ends cut on this side, so I can bring the brown back over here, and you can see once again I have my yarn pulled through, and I'm going to pull through the brown all the way and then continue with the brown to this point. And my next row I'm also going to do another row of white, just to have a nice thick piece of it, because if I do the brown it's going to put stitches into here and thin it out pretty much. So I'll do another row of white, but we'll get there when we get there. Alright, we're back to the start. I'm going to switch back to white again, and then this time we're also doing 2 stitches into 1, 10, then 2 stitches, then 10, then 2, 10, all the way around. Here is what it's going to look like. I am going to weave these in once we get a little further along, but keeping on. 2 stitches in the first, then we're going to do 11, 2 stitches, 11, all the way around. I have a loose hair here. There we go. And once we get to the start, we'll just keep on going. This time we're going to do 2 stitches in the first, 12, 2, 12, 2, all the way around. I am now going to go ahead and pull these through. Just use a smaller hook, push it through where they're attached, hook onto them, and pull them to the other side. Next we're going to continue with our pattern, 2 stitches into the first, 13, 2 stitches in the next, all the way around. Here's what we look like so far. I think we're getting to be about the size where we'll stay the same, but I am not completely sure yet. We're just winging it. It's really hard when you can't like stuff it and you're kind of looking at like a 2D slash like deflated version of what you're making. So yeah, it's also kind of like curved a certain way, so we got to work on that as well. All right, now it'll be 2 stitches into the first, 14, 2 stitches, 14. We're getting to about the size I want, so I think this will be our last row. Then we'll do several of staying the same. Now we are going to stay the same. We're not expanding at all. We are just going to put a single stitch into every stitch all the way around. Yeah, so we'll do that for several rows. I will count how many rows I do, and I'll let you know once I get there. I'm a little over halfway through my 4th row of staying the same, and I'm done with my first skein. This has 89 yards, and it's actually done quite a bit, so I feel like that's pretty good. Now we're going to add the second skein. I am just going to go back and do the same thing I did with the white yarn by, instead of looping through with the current yarn I'm using, I'm gonna switch to the new yarn. All right, I did come over here to kind of show you guys what it looks like so far. I'm hoping that it'll look proportionate once we keep going, but I did 6 rows of staying the same, putting a single stitch into every stitch. I think I will have to kind of like pinch the ends down here to kind of make it, because the bottom is a little wider than the top. I don't know. It's probably just how I added the white. Anyways, we're going to take that out, and now we're going to start decreasing, which by that, I'm going to basically do the opposite of the increasing we were doing. So I'm going to remove my stitch marker and find my yarn here. Going to go into my first stitch, pull through, go into the second stitch, and pull all the way through, creating 1 single stitch out of the 2. So anytime I'm going to say 2 stitches into 1, that is what I mean. Since we're going to do the opposite, I'm going to do 14 single stitches following that. So that's 2, and then 3, make sure our yarn's nice and loose, 4, 5, 6, then we got 13 and 14, because that is what we ended on. And then we're going to once again do pull through 1, go into the next one, take 2 stitches into 1, then 14 more, and keep going all the way around to the start. And continuing the pattern of reducing, we're going to put 2 stitches into 1, so I'm going to go into the first, into the second, pull through for 1 stitch, then 13 single stitches, then 2 stitches into 1, 13, all the way back to the start. And we're going to continue reducing, 2 stitches into 1 stitch, 12, 2 stitches into 1, 12, all the way around. Now we're back to the start, so we're going to do 2 stitches into 1, 11, 2 stitches into 1, 11, 2 stitches into 1, 11, all the way around. Continuing with our pattern, we're going to do 2 stitches turned into 1 stitch, then we'll do 10, 2 stitches into 1 stitch, 10, all the way around. So we are to the point where we need to add our cream yarn again, and I am going to add, or I already added little stitch markers equally to where it is, and this is my starting chain. So this side is still a little bit bigger. You know, I assume that just has to do with fluffy yarn and just how fluffy yarn sometimes deceives you and how many like stitches you've actually put in. So I'll be adding my cream yarn back here, and once again I'll do 2 rows with the cream. I'm kind of doing backwards, so this one I did 9 and 10, and this one I'm doing 9 and 8 just because I think proportionally it looks a little better. So we'll do make 1 stitch out of 2, go 9, 1 stitch out of 2, and include adding the cream yarn. All right, now we're going to keep reducing, put 2 stitches into 1, 8, 2 stitches into 1, and you can see I did the cream yarn exactly as I did previously, but now reducing rather than expanding. The football shape is really coming together. This time we'll do 2 stitches into 1, then 7, then 2 stitches into the next, then 7, all the way around. And here soon we'll have to do the face. I'm waiting a little bit longer than I probably normally would because I am unsure of like where to perfectly set it. But I think after this one, I'll go ahead and do the face. But of course, if you don't want a face on yours, if you just want like this squishy football pillow, you can skip that step. I'm still deciding where to place the eyes. I am gonna use a 20mm eye because I think it will stay the most secure. I like when it's kind of lower on the body, but I don't know, we will see. I'll add the eyes, and I'm gonna attempt to use just acrylic yarn, but if it sinks too much where you cannot see it, I will switch to, I have some black velvet yarn that I can use as well, but I prefer the look of acrylic. So we're gonna try out that. I'm just gonna do like a simple smile once I place that. Yeah, so, I don't think that's gonna work. I will definitely have to use the velvet yarn for the mouth, but his eyes, why does he look so sad? Anyways, I'm gonna hop back into the body and worry about the mouth later because I'm so close to being done. We do have to do the lacing on the top and his legs, but that shouldn't take very long. I did add the little mouth with some velvet. I don't love how his mouth looks, so I might take it out and redo it, but anyways, we'll do 2 stitches into 1, 6 single stitches, 2 stitches into 1, 6 single, all the way around. We are almost done, so 2 stitches into 1, 5, 2 stitches into 1, 5, all the way around, because we are so close to being done with the main. Now we are going to put 2 stitches into 1, 4, 2 stitches into 1, 4, and we're going to keep reducing just to save time and repetitive. We're going to keep reducing until we do 2 stitches into 1, 2, 2 stitches into 1, and then we'll come back. So you do 4, then 3, then 2, and we'll come back. Alrighty, he's coming together. I went to the point I said I was going to. I stuffed him. You want to make sure he is super full. You can also ignore all my son's toys in the background. Oh my goodness. He's super full. I might have to add a little bit more because he does have some soft spots. Crochet is one of those things that at first I was like worried to overstuff them, but I'm definitely realizing now stuffing's important because it will break down and they will get like a little saggy and sad looking. I also added little like sides to his mouth. I love adding those. I think it gives them so much personality. I also might add like a white acrylic around his eyes to brighten it up since he is on like this darker brown. But yeah, now we are going to kind of finish up our hole, and yes, this is where all my stuffing is. I'm going to fill him up a little bit more, and then I'm going to do 2 stitches, 1, 2 stitches into 1, 1, 2 stitches into 1, and then we're going to weave it and seal it. So that's where we're at. We're almost done with the body, so let's finish that up. Now I'm going to keep a stitch or a stitch marker there so I can know where I'm at, and I'm basically going to weave to the best of my ability back and forth through the stitches so we can close it up. I'm gonna have to do this not one-handed here because it's gonna definitely be difficult. But we're gonna go back and forth, weaving through, and then we're gonna pull tight so we have a sealed. All right, so if you want this to be like a no-sew, which by the way, look how cute my cat's being behind here. He's adorable. But if you want this to be a no-sew other than weaving your ends in and making the mouth, you can be done. I am going to do the top laces as well as adding a little bit of white around the eyes, and then the next will also be optional of the legs. So from here, if this is how you want yours to look, you are done. You have completed your jumbo football plush pillow friend. Still thinking of a name. But if you want to add legs, if you want to add laces, so on and so forth, let's keep going. You guys, I messed up. Oh no, I gouged his out. Oh no. I feel so bad. I was trying to add the white. I've actually never done it before. And I harmed him more, so I'm so sorry, little football guy. I have taken out your eye. I think he'll be okay. I'll try and if you have a suggestion of how to fix this, please let me know, because I've made this mistake before and I don't know how to fix it. So if you can help me, please do. I feel terrible. His eye is hanging on by just like the smallest thread. I'm so sorry. All right, so for the laces, I did a starting chain of 9, and then I'm gonna flip my work and do a 1 chain of 8 single stitches, and then I'm going to sew it in there. I think I fixed his eye. I don't think it's perfect, but it's definitely better. You know, if he was something else, I could have given him like a little eye patch. I had to take the eye fully out, and I was able to kind of like maneuver the yarn to get it back in there. I hope it stays, but I guess I will not be adding white detailing. I'm too afraid. I might look up how to do it, but I also added this. I did add it crooked. That was not intentional. That was just a mistake. But I'm leaving it because I am not somebody who backs down. That's how I like to explain my lack of frogging and stuff, is that I just don't like to back down. I like to commit to what I've done, and that's a really terrible mindset to have when crocheting. But now he kind of looks like he has like a little silly hairline. But now I'm gonna make him some legs. I am deciding what kind of yarn to use. If I'm gonna use like chenille and velvet yarn, if I'm gonna use some fluffy yarn for his legs, some acrylic yarn. I really have not decided. I'm going to be completely honest, I'm still workshopping my way of doing feet. So basically I did a starting chain of 8 for the white, did 4 rows, and then I did starting chain of 4, connected it, and did 6 stitches into the center, then did, I don't know how many rounds is this, like 5 rounds of black, and then I attached it where it's gonna kind of sit like that. That is probably the most inconvenient way to do it, and I'm not gonna show you because I don't think that's beneficial, but that's how I did it. I'm gonna do one more foot and then we're done. You can see I added a little extra detail because I was done, and I thought it would be really cute to add a little eye black like a lot of football as well as baseball players wear. But he is done, his little feet, which I'm still definitely working on my feet. I could have done like attach them a little lower so they would sit flatter, but here is the completed football guy. Here is my hand. In comparison, he is quite large. He's really cute. He is nice and cuddly. This is definitely going to be like the perfect fall pillow, especially if you're a football fan. Either add the legs or don't. There's a lot of ways you can also add extra detailing to make it more for your sport or your particular team. There's obviously the whole back. You could add an embroidery for the colors of your team. You could add detailing here for colors of your team. There's a lot you can do, but yeah, that is our little football guy. I'm still undetermined on the name of him. Maybe like football pillow buddy, football cuddle buddy. I'm not sure, but I will also I might potentially make the picture of me holding him like the main thing. If not, I'll try and add something of me holding him just so you can see just how big he is. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, you should definitely subscribe down below. You should follow my Instagram, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye!